Hello, my name is Karl Kössler. I'm a senior researcher at the Institute for Comparative Federalism, and the topic that I will talk about today is institutions and intergovernmental relations. So, why are for South Tyrolean autonomy institutions at different levels, at the provincial and at the regional levels, important? How do these institutions look like? And how do they interact with institutions at other government levels? Those are the main questions that I will answer. When regionalism took hold in Italy with the Constitution of 1948, South Tyrol was together in one region with the province of Trentino. And the issue was then that negotiations ensued with South Tyrolean politicians who wanted to bring more competences to the province of South Tyrol and to have less competences at the regional level. Eventually, in 1972, a transfer of the bulk of legislative and executive powers took place, and with this process, of course, also the provincial institutions became more important than the regional institutions. According to the Autonomy Statute of 1972, there are three main types of institutions at both the regional level and the provincial level: a council, a government, and the president. The Provincial Council of South Tyrol has 35 members who are elected every 5 years based on an electoral system of proportional representation. Together with their counterparts, the provincial deputies of the Trentino, they also are at the same time deputies of the Regional Council, which exercises, however, since 1972, only quite few legislative competences. So the Provincial Council of South Tyrol has, of course, as its main role, a legislative role. But beyond lawmaking, it also elects from among its members, by absolute majority and via secret ballot, the members of the provincial government. And, of course, as every parliamentary institution, they also supervise the executive branch. South Tyrol's executive body is, as mentioned before, the provincial government, which is in charge of implementing the laws adopted by the provincial council. On the other hand, of course, it also has the power to initiate the legislative process. It can submit bills to the provincial council. What is very important regarding the provincial government is that South Tyrol's linguistic diversity is taken into account. First, it has beyond the president, who leads the government, two vice presidents. One vice president is a German speaker, and the second vice president is an Italian speaker. Another important element that reflects the province's diversity is that the ratio of the language groups in the provincial government must reflect the ratio of the language groups in the provincial council. This has very important political repercussions, as members of Italian-speaking parties need to be taken on board, and this forces the politically dominant party, the SVP, a German-speaking party, to form coalition governments. As I mentioned briefly before, the provincial government is led by the president of the province. The president of the province distributes the responsibilities among the other members of the government. He or she also enacts by decree regulations decided by the provincial government. And what is very important, especially also in times of COVID-19, he has special competences in terms of public security and public health. Next to those internal competences, the president of South Tyrol also has representative functions in external relations. So both vis-à-vis other countries, but also representative functions with regard to the central government. So this brings us to the topic of intergovernmental relations between Bolzano-Bozen and Rome. So a basic distinction in terms of intergovernmental relations has to be made between multilateral and bilateral mechanisms for these relations. Multilateral intergovernmental relations take place, of course, through informal contacts between politicians, informal meetings, phone calls, etc. But they are also complemented by institutionalized multilateral forums. The most important of these forums is the permanent conference between the state, the regions, and the autonomous provinces, which brings together the heads of the executives. So it brings together the presidents of the regions, in the case of South Tyrol, the president of the province, and on the other hand, the Prime Minister of Italy or the Italian Minister of Regional Affairs. There are in these institutions no legal provisions that prescribe any voting rules. So consensus is key in order to make decisions in this body. And this means that agreement is needed not only between the regions on the one hand and the central government on the other hand, but also between Italian regions. And as Italian regions, of course, have very different interests in many respects, it's not always easy, and it's not something to be taken for granted that a consensus and a common negotiating position among the regions is easily achieved. So that is also why South Tyrol's specific interests are more efficiently promoted through bilateral mechanisms, bilateral intergovernmental relations. And what is the most important institution here is the Commission of the Six. The Commission of the Six permits South Tyrol to negotiate on an equal footing with the central government. So actually it's not the governments negotiating there, but it's persons who are nominated by them. So there is a principle of double parity within this institution, which means that 3 members of these joint commissions are nominated by the central government and 3 are nominated by the autonomous province of South Tyrol. But double parity also means that there must also be a parity between German speakers and Italian speakers. And to make things even more complicated, but in the end also to provide an integrative element, the central government, the Italian government, must nominate 1 German speaker from among the 3 persons that it nominates, while the South Tyrolean government also has to nominate 1 Italian speaker. So this integrative element facilitates decision-making, because again, also here, it's not a majority decision that is taken, because usually if there is no agreement within the Commission, there is no decision. So this is an important, the composition of double parity within the Commission of the Six is an important element that shows the equality between the South Tyrolean government and the Italian government in these bilateral relations. Another important element of equality is that actually the bylaws that are drafted by this Commission of the Six, they are only rubber stamped by the Italian government through an approval in the form of enactment decrees. So this joint decision making within this Commission of the Six has allowed for a very dynamic development of the competences of the autonomous province of South Tyrol, and therefore it has been a key instrument of South Tyrolean autonomy, if not the key instrument of its autonomy.